So let's talk about intermediate text processing, which is basically grep, sed, and awk. So the grep command is basically, the GNU regular expression parser. Very powerful command. It's worth learning in great detail. Here, if we wget that PHT file, you can use it to find all the lines that contain protein and figure out how many of those there are. You can find all the file names which contain metazoa. In that case, it's only going to be the GBK file. The PHT file won't have it. You can look for context around it. -B5 and A5 are before and after 5 lines for that string. And then you can do things like look at the number of counts within the GBK of the string journal.star. And so that's a regular expression there, and you can sort and uniqueify. So go through grep. Next, let's talk about sed. So what sed does is basically quickly finds and replaces content within a file. There's a great list of sed one-liners if you go to that link. Here's an example of replacing all instances of the string kinase with Stanford in the first 10 lines of a PTT file, and then echoing the results to std out. One of the great use cases for sed is quick cleanups of files. For example, say that you've got a Windows new line file here. Let's go through this example because it's not too hard, but it's a little tricky. First, we're going to download that file, then we're going to look at it, and then we're going to see why it needs to be fixed. So first, let's download it. So we've got a file called windows-newline-file.csv. What happens if we try to cat that file? We don't really see much. It kind of was broken. If we do less on the file, though, we start to see what the issue is. The issue is there is a Windows new line, which is rendered in Unix often as a !M symbol. And that Windows new line corresponds to a carriage return in Unix. So what's happening is this is printing this, then there's a carriage return, the cursor is moving back to the beginning of the line, it's printing this, there's another carriage return, it's moving back to the beginning of the line again, and then it's printing this. And then, that's how this is interpreted, as something that moves the cursor back before it prints out. And the way that we can fix this is very simply if we do the following command. So this substitutes carriage returns for new lines globally in this command, in this file. And if we push -I, it's interactive. And now, ta-da, that worked. So that's how you use sed. Last but not least, let's talk about awk. Awk is really a whole scripting language in its own right. It's really the tool for working with tab-delimited text. If all you need to do is rearrange some columns, do some basic arithmetic, or otherwise, refashion a large tab-delimited text file, awk is very well worth looking into rather than something more complicated. Here's an example of a little awk command line. First, we're going to take the PHT file, we're going to rip off the first 4 lines and then start printing after that. And then we're going to pipe that into awk. It's going to split on tabs as its delimiter, which is passed with -F. And it's going to print out the second column, the third column, and then the third column again, except now +5. And then we're going to look at the first 10 lines of that, which is a default of head. There's a great list of awk one-liners here, which you should take a look at to get a sense of all the things awk can do. But let's just do this one, simple example to see how this works. And here's what the original PHT looked like. So you see we pulled out the second column. So first we took the first 3 lines, threw them away, and started printing at the 4th line. That was tail-n +4. Star PTT. And then what awk did was it printed the second, the third, and the third column +5. So this is the second column, which is a plus. Here's the third column, which is 21. And this third column +5, which is 26. Then did it again, 8, 20, 3, 10, 4, 28, etc. And interpreted them numerically and added 5 to them. So awk is really useful for this kind of stuff, arithmetic and manipulations on tab-delimited text files, as well as really any other kind of delimited file. You can change the delimiter over there.